review muna natin kung nasaan tayo kahapon. So, we started with, in the CDP process, we started with organizing and mobilizing the planning team. Okay? And setting or revisiting the vision. So, kahapon, diniscuss no, ni Sir Henry yung vision, formulating success indicators. So, lahat naman tayo ay nakapag-formulate ng success indicators depending on the sector that we were assigned to. No? So for today, we will determine the current reality and then determine the vision reality gap. This is the VRG analysis. Generate new information, extract intelligence up to the determining policy options. Okay? So ito yung isa sa mga pinaka-crucial na process doon sa ating CDP formulation because finally, we are going to identify the different problems that are confronting our community, our local government unit in particular. So before proceed, let me share a quote from Albert Einstein. Sabi niya, if I had an hour to solve a problem, I would spend 55 minutes thinking about the problem and 5 minutes thinking about the solution. So, siguro naman intindihan natin no yung wisdom behind that aphorism na mas bigyan natin ng pansin yung pag-identify sa problem. So in the scientific method, the first step actually is what? It's identifying the problem, okay? So just like in planning, we have to focus on identifying the problems, in particular of our local government units, for us to be able to provide appropriate and necessary solutions in the form of programs, projects, legislation, which is the meat of the comprehensive development plan. So we shall now proceed to the next step. After identifying or formulating rather the success indicators yesterday, we shall now proceed to determining the current reality. So meron tayong vision. Again, what is the vision? The vision is the desired state, no, of your LGU. So when we say desired state, ito yung sabihin na natin na pinapangarap, no, na ideal situation ng inyong local government unit. So meron kayong pangarap pero nasaan tayo ngayon? Okay? That's the purpose of the vision reality gap analysis. Okay? So what are the tools no in assessing the current reality? Kasi yan ang pinakamahalaga. Kailangan malaman natin nasaan tayo ngayon. Ito yung gusto nating maabot at this height, but our current reality, ano yung binibigay na sitwasyon, ano yung binibigay na realidad, no? Based on the of course available data that we have, no? So what are the tools that we can use in assessing the current reality in our LGU? So unang-una, of course, we have to review no our existing local plans. At ideally, dapat nauuna ang formulation ng comprehensive development plan bago tayo makapag-formulate no ng ating sectoral plans, no? But ang reality, of course, aminin na natin na meron tayong mga sectoral plans, no, in place na yan before we even begin the comprehensive development plan. So napaka-ironic because you have the sectoral plans and then you will follow the formulation of the comprehensive development plan as a whole. So we have to confront the reality, no? So the reality is meron tayong mga sectoral plans. We have, what are those sectoral plans? We have the God plan and budget, executive legislative agenda, disaster management plan, ano pa? Plan for children. Ano ba yung mga hindi nabanggit yan? We have 30 plus plans as was stated yesterday. So we can all use these sectoral plans to assess our current reality kasi in the formulation of these plans, especially the God plan and budget, no, in particular, we use different data, statistics, no, that are available in our local government unit para mabuo yung mga local plans na yon. So we also have the higher level plans, no, this could be the Provincial Development and Physical Framework Plan, which is na-emphasize natin kahapon yung vertical link, no? Vertical link ng mga plans natin, yung alignment of plans na dapat nakakasunod tayo sa trust and priorities ng mga higher level plans. Okay? Next is assessments, no? Assessment reports. Pangunahin dyan yung ating SGLG, no? Napakagandang tool na pwede nating magamit para malaman natin kung ano yung mga kakulangan natin sa ating local government unit. So, lahat po ba ng LGU is nabigyan ng GAR or Governance Assessment Report ng SGLG? Okay, during the last assessment, I would assume you were given, no, the governance assessment report of your SGLG. So malaking bagay yan para ma-assess natin, no, kung ano yung mga kulang pa natin sa ating LGU. Child-friendly local governance audit. So this could be a helpful input, particular social sector under the subsector ng children and youth, no? CBMS, SIDRA, and HGDG. Yung SIDRA is very useful because we are now emphasizing that CDPs must be risk-informed, no? Okay, next is thematic maps. So meron tayong mga available na thematic maps from Mines and Geosciences Bureau na pwede nating magamit. So makikita natin doon saang mga areas yung vulnerable or at risk. So pwede nating maging input yan in our analysis para matarget natin sino yung mga, for example, if you have programs on relocating those families who are at high risk area, so you can use these thematic maps as the LGU's current reality can also be taken from your ecological profile. Okay? So based from the discussion of kahapon, no, doon sa atin ni Ma'am Leia, doon sa roles ng MLGU at saka ng MPDC and other concerned stakeholders, sino dapat ang nag-formulate o gumagawa nitong ecological profile? Anyone? Who in the LGU has the responsibility to formulate this ecological profile? Is it the MLGOO? I'm sorry, I cannot see the chat box. Kung meron man pong sumasagot, you can open your microphone para pong
sabi dito ay Menro. Sir Dol.
Okay, Menro. Tama ba? Is it the Menro? Unfortunately, Menro is not one of our participants here, and you cannot call his or her attention that it is his job to do the ecological profile. So, when you review, no, yung ating process, PDC, no, we should be formulating the ecological profile. Kasi ang planning office, siya ang database, siya ang database, no, holder ng database ng LGU. So it is just right and proper na siya ang gumawa ng ecological profile. Of course, hindi dapat yan na one-man team. You cannot make your ecological profile if you do not have the available data, and this data can only be gathered from all concerned offices, local or national offices. Okay, so from revisiting the vision, we now determine the current reality. So sabi dyan, gather data and information based on the identified vision element or descriptors for the 5 development sectors. So you may refer to the ALG guide. So later on, madidiscuss natin ano ba yung outline, no? Especially yung modified na ecological profile kasi risk-informed na tayo, dapat yung ecological profile, from that moment na gumawa kayo ng eco-profile, risk-informed na rin. Okay? So, validate the said data through consultations and comparisons with the data from higher or lower level LGU. So, data validation, that is very important. Okay? Ecological profile is, as defined, is a merger of the socioeconomic and biophysical profiles of the study area and treats these subjects on equal footing. So siguro yung ibang planning officers natin, planning coordinators, ang nauna sa ecological profile ay yung previous version nito. This is what we called previously the socio-economic profile or the SEP. Okay? So, minodify natin yan na dapat yung kasama na yung biophysical, hindi lang yung social and economic profile ng inyong LGU ang dapat nating masama sa ecological profile, but also the biophysical. And in the context of formulating a risk-informed CDP, that is very important because you cannot respond to the hazards that your LGU poses, your LGU confronts if you are not able to formulate your biophysical profiles. So, basic reference about all possible aspects of the locality and the picture of the current realities of your local government unit. So, yun yung ecological profile natin. So, what are the contents of an ecological profile? So, doon po sa ating mga planning coordinators, lahat po kayo ay meron ng ecological profile. Kindly type yes doon sa ating chat box. Sa ating mga MPDCs. Ecological profile. Okay.
Yes, daw for Cagayan Silio.
Yes, for Cagayan Silio. And then how about the other LGUs? Kung meron man, is that updated? Baka naman yung ecological profile natin, 1987 pa. Okay? So, it is very important, because we have lodged the responsibility, to update your eco profile to the MPDC, to you as the MPDC. Dapat updated yung ating mga datos, So, it must be updated accordingly. So, as was mentioned a while ago, dapat covered nito yung 5 development sectors natin. So, balikan natin yung 5 development sectors kahapon, as was discussed. We have population and social services. So, this is the social sector. The local economy, the state of the local economy. The condition of the built environment, which is the infrastructure and physical base. The environmental sector and the institutional development sector. So, dapat ganyan ka-komprehensibo yung ating ecological profile because in the first place, that is the basis of our situational analysis, So, if you do not have available data, it is very difficult, to formulate and analyze the current situation, formulate problems and analyze the current situation. Now, what is the purpose of an eco profile? Of course, it helps the LGU to determine the current level of services to its constituents. So, wala namang perfect na LGU. That's why we have the comprehensive development plan, So, we are going to address the gap between the ideal and the reality that we have right now. So, nasaan kayo ngayon? Yung mga services, especially those devolved services to LGUs by the local government code, nasaan kayo? Ano yung estado ng pagbibigay ng serbisyo ng mga LGUs sa kanilang mga constituents? Also, it helps you to determine the available resources of your LGU. Ano yung current resources ninyo when it comes to manpower, for example. For human resource, yung human capital natin, yung natural resource ninyo, that is very important kasi we have to match yung ating resources with our needs, Kung kaya bang mapunan ng ating mga resources na available yung mga pangangailangan at kakulangan pa nating dapat maibigay sa ating mga constituents. Next is the environmental factors which will affect policy. And to which policy it is expected to bring changes to. This is what the risk-informed CDP would like to address. This is what we would like to address. That's why we're trying to mainstream yung ating DRRCCA sa CDP. Kasi kahit anong investment ang gawin natin, hindi natin maiiwasan yung environmental factors. There are always environmental threats, man-made or it could either be human-induced or natural disasters, kagaya nitong pandemic. No? So these are the factors that must come into our minds when we make the comprehensive development plan. Yung worst case scenario, for example, um, this is something that is out of the ordinary, pero it is a reality and is actually happening right now. So the question is, were you able to capture this kind of scenario in your comprehensive development plan? So siguro lahat sa atin magsasabi, no, we were all caught off guard. Kaya yung ating mga resources, lahat tayo naging reactive, no, dito sa ganitong scenario. So I think since this is a new situation, this is one of the improvements that we can also integrate in our CDP. And it's a good thing na kayo, this is an opportunity for you, na yung mga wala pang CDP, na ma-integrate yung concern ng pandemics, no, sa ating comprehensive development plan. And this is going one step ahead, no, of the worst case scenario. So aside from the natural and environmental factors and human-induced disasters, we can also integrate yung ating capacity, yung ating readiness para sa ganitong sitwasyon, which is, of course, the occurrence of a pandemic. Okay, next, it also provides the data that will lead to the identification of problem situations affecting the target or specific segments of the population. So again, as we always emphasize in any planning workshop, the most important thing in planning is the availability of data. Okay? And when you have an ecological profile, a comprehensive and updated ecological profile, wala kang maging problema in identifying the problem, because we have settled already that this is the most important thing in planning. You must be able to identify the problem. Sabi nga na Einstein, 55 minutes, identify the problem, and 5 minutes to solve it. So in other words, dapat mas pinibigyan natin ng importansya, no, yung pag-identify doon sa mga problema ng ating LGUs. Okay? So, data pyramid. So, sa mga statisticians, sa ating mga planning coordinators, siguro sanay na tayo dito, no? So, sa data pyramid natin. So, at the base, we have the data. And then, once you organize the data, you will have statistics. Okay? And then, at the higher level of that pyramid would be the indicators, and the topmost of the pyramid would be the index. So we have sige. So we have the index at the top level of the pyramid. So we have, for the index, examples natin dyan, yung CPI. Ano ibig sabihin ng CPI? Doon yung Consumer Price Index natin. The Gross Domestic Product, and the Gross Value Added, and the Human Development Index. So ito yung mga indicators that are designed to measure the overall condition of the object of the study. So, for example, yung Human Development Index natin, no, yung HDI natin, that is one of the primary indicators kung gaano na develop or gaano na kaganda yung sitwasyon, no, ng isang bansa pagdating sa, for example, in responding to the challenges of poverty. Now, for indicators, we have used this term yesterday for the success indicator. These are the variables used to measure progress towards goals. So, parang sa SPMS natin ito, di ba? So, sa mga SPMS, how do you say that you have achieved, no, yung iyong target, no, sa isang semester, for example? So we set performance indicator. So kapag na-achieve mo yung iyong goal, no, yung iyong target in particular sa isang semester, basing that vis-a-vis the indicator that you have set, SPMS indicator that you have set, yun yung measurement natin na ikaw ay naging successful, you have hit the target for that particular goal, no, or target. Now, in the case of LGUs, for the success indicator, so balikan natin, For example, yung nabigay sa amin indicator yesterday was safe. So how would you say that you have attained or achieved being a safe uh, LGU when it comes to infrastructure? So dapat malinaw yan. Single numbers, mostly ratios which permit comparisons over time and space and have normative or policy implications. So mahalaga din yung evolution ng datos natin. So dapat halimbawa yung population natin, we do that every 5 years ba? Tama ba? Every 5 years, we do the census every 5 years. And nakikita natin doon gaano kataas yung, gaano kabilis tumaas yung ating population, no? And direct and unambiguous measure of progress. So that's why dyan papasok yung ating mga what do you call this? The numbers, no? So pag sinabing 100%, unambiguous yun, no? 100% of all households has access to safe potable water, no? So dapat measurable direkta at kayang-kaya nating ma-measure if we have already achieved that particular indicator. Now, this is the expanded outline of the ecological profile. So sa mga MPDCs natin, particularly doon sa mga meron ng mga eco-profile, i-check natin kung naka-follow tayo dito sa format no, na expanded outline. And if we can have improvements in our existing eco-profile, we can use this outline. No? So, of course, yung number one dyan is, kung hindi ako nagkakamali, is the history. Yung number one, history. And then we shall proceed with chapter 2 would be the geophysical environment. So, since we are formulating a risk-informed CDP, dapat malinaw sa atin yung geophysical characteristics ng ating local government unit. So, dapat yung land resources natin, mineral resources, coastal resources, and fresh water resources, which could be tapped no, to achieve yung ating vision. Population and social profile. So, medyo exhaustive and comprehensive yung hinihingi ng mga datos dito sa ating ecological profile. And para naman yan sa atin kasi, and for the planning team, kasi ito yung magiging biblia natin para ng lahat ng datos na kakailangan natin in order to identify our problems, existing situations in our local government unit. Okay, so naandyan, social welfare, integrated na po dyan yung ating mga subsectors, so health, social welfare, education, housing, and ano pa dyan, employment and income, recreational sports facilities, and protective services. Okay, for the local economy, we have the primary sector, yung AFF natin, agriculture, fisheries, and forestry. And then yung support facilities natin, existing support facilities for the primary sector. For the secondary sector, we have the manufacturing, construction, mining, and quarrying. So, mapapansin niyo sa omnibus guidelines natin, masigway lang ako, ito yung basihan ng DTI, no, sa categorization no, ng ano yung mga allowed na mga industries. So, in the economic sector, we have these subsectors. We have the primary sector, secondary sector, and tertiary sectors. Infrastructure, we have, of course, primary dyan yung inventory of roads by classification, and irrigation, flood control, water supply, power supply, transport facilities, and so on and so forth. So, ganyan ka-exhaustive and comprehensive dapat yung ating ecological profile. Now, for the institutional sector, local government structure. So, yung organizational structure ng ating local government unit, fiscal management. So, ano yung mga kasalukuyan natin ng mga tools na pwede nating magamit para sa ma-assess natin yung fiscal management and status ng ating LGU? So, we have the public financial management, for example. Okay? Yung reports ng ating revenue generation, co-audit report, that could also be used. No? And of course, under the institutional sector, we have development legislation. So, dapat kaya importante yung participation ng local sanggunian under the institutional sector. So, gaano na karami yung mga resolutions and ordinances na naipasa per sector and by year. So, that's why member dito yung SB Secretary, yung institutional sector. And then, also, we have citizen participation and CSO engagement. So, yung private sector and then the public sector engagement, the LGU, CSO, private sector linkages, that is also under the umbrella of the institutional sector. Now, added to that is, of course, because we would like to have a risk-informed CDP, napakahalaga na ma-integrate natin yung ating SIDRA sa ating eco-profile. Unfortunately, SIDRA is a very complicated assessment to conduct, no? So I don't know if how many of our target LGUs actually have the SIDRA, which they can utilize during the CDP formulation. But since we are addressing or formulating a risk-informed CDP, the first step really is to have a climate and disaster risk assessment. So integrate that to your ecological profile, and we can utilize that, no, in order to go through with the risk-informed comprehensive development plan. Okay, we shall now proceed with the LDIS. So, sino po sa inyo sa mga MPDCs natin ang aware sa LDIS or RAPIDS? LDIS or RAPIDS? Sige nga po sa chat box natin, if you can type yes. Are you aware of this LDIS system? At kung ginagamit nyo po ito, okay? El Nido, yes. LDIS. Sino pa po? Okay, El Nido. How about the other LGUs? Do you utilize or are you aware at the very least about this local development indicator system? Okay, silence means yes, so I would probably say that you're aware of this one. So just for the sake of discussion, balikan natin, ano ba itong LDIS? Matagal na actually itong LDIS, no? If you review the rationalized planning system, nandun na yung ating LDIS, no? Yung guidebook natin in comprehensive development planning. So, the LDIS is an analytical tool that portrays information on 3 dimensions. Okay? We have the sectoral dimension, the temporal dimension, and the spatial dimension. So, ano ba ito? So, sa sectoral dimension, nakagrupo yung ating mga indicators into the 5 development sectors that we have been discussing. No? The social, the economic environment, the infrastructure, and the institutional sector. No? Now, sa temporal dimension naman, merong time component. So, dapat, kapag maganda ang data banking natin, no? Yung database natin, we are able to capture different information or data from different years. No? For example, every 5 years, nagka-capture every 3 years. O kung merong annual data, mas maganda. Bakit mahalaga yung temporal dimension? Because, we are able to analyze, no, yung trend, no? Yung trend ng ating mga datos. So, for example, in 2015, you have how many population? Okay? And then, going back 5 years in 2010, ilan yung population mo? So, in that scenario, we are able to capture, no, yung bird's eye view ng ating LGU. So, tumataas ba o bumababa yung ating population? So, mahalaga na hindi yung datos lang para sa isang taon ang kinakapture natin. But as much as possible, makapture natin yung mga datos from previous years. Okay, so sa spatial naman, we compare yung ating datos with that of the higher level and also the lower level LGUs. So sa higher level LGUs natin, ano ang higher level LGU ng munisipyo? It is the what? The province. So when you compare the data of the municipality vis-a-vis the data of the province, no? Nasaan kayo? Ano yung, for example, participation rate, no? Sa participation rate natin, ano pa ba? in the economic sector, maraming analysis na pwede tayong makuha dyan when we are able to capture the data from the regional, as far as the regional and even up to the national level. So these are the data that could help us, ano yung standing natin, especially in achieving your outward-looking component. For example, if your LGU wants to become the center of education in the whole region or in the province, so kailangan malaman mo ano yung estado ng edukasyon sa inyong munisipyo in comparison to the province, okay? In comparison to the region, okay? For you to be able to analyze what particular interventions or kung gaano kayo kalayo or kalapit na doon sa goal na inyong gustong ma-achieve, okay? So we also need to capture yung ating mga barangay level information. Okay, for example, this is an example of a data, no? So in population growth rates, ang na-capture niya na information is in the years 2000 and 2003. Sa literacy rate, the same years. So punta tayo sa literacy rate. So in 2000, sa planning area, this is the municipality. When we say the planning area, this pertains to your local government unit. So in 2000, based on available data, 95% daw yung literacy rate nitong LGU na ito. And then in 2003, 97%. So from those figures, ano yung pwede nating ma-infer? That literacy rate is increasing in your LGU. And then compare that to the largest spatial unit. What is the largest spatial unit? It is your province, no? So compare that to the literacy rate of your province. So medyo nakakaangat kayo. Okay? So in 2000, ang literacy rate in the whole province is 87%, and in 2003, 88%. So pareho namang tumaas, no, in between those years. Now, ano naman itong smaller spatial units? Ito yung mga barangay data natin. So if you have, for example, 4 barangays, kailangan makuha mo rin yung literacy rate itong 4 na barangays na ito. And then dapat, of course, tumugmayan doon sa literacy rate ng buong munisipyo. So, bakit mahalaga ito? Kasi kung planning area lang yung titingnan natin, ay mataas na 97%. Pero kung titingnan natin itong Barangay C, 89% lang yung kanyang literacy rate. So makikita natin merong discrepancy, no? So that's the importance of capturing, no, the information within your LGU, compare that to your province, and compare the data of your barangay LGUs, no? So we have the indicator, the planning area, which is your LGU, the largest spatial unit. This is the province, but you can also include the regional or even the national level data. And for your smaller spatial units, you have the barangay level data. Okay, LDIs are expressed in terms of ratio, proportion, percentage, average, and per capita share. So these are the kinds of data that we need to gather. Depended on sa indicator, no, na applicable sa inyong LGU. So, LDIs generated data, it helps us, ano importance niyan? Helps us to determine the level of development or underdevelopment of your area. So, basic na yan. Makikita natin, for example, in poverty incidence, makikita natin, tumataas ba o bumababa? Are we within the minimum standards? No? Are we within the standards of literacy rate, standard of providing access to water and electricity? And then, once you are able to determine the level of your development, then you are also able to identify the different problems and potentials as well based on the gaps, no, of this level of development or underdevelopment. So again, this data could provide either a potential for you as an LGU or a problem that needs to be addressed. Okay? And then success indicators for each descriptor of the different elements of the vision statement. So alam na natin yan, ginawa na natin yan kahapon, yung different success indicators, okay? And indicators that the national agencies are pushing. Saan natin makukuha ito? How do we how do we identify the trusts and priorities of the national government? Of course, nagbabago-bago yan, pero anong basehan natin? Anyone, where do we base or where do we call out the priorities and trusts of the national government? This is part of the alignment of plans. So, saan natin pwedeng makuha yan? Okay, so we can take that from dagaan, that could also be a source, but the primary source would be the Philippine Development Plan. Okay, so that's why we have the Philippine Development Plan, because this encapsulates the trusts and direction of the current administration, which LGUs must support. Okay, so from top-down approach. So hindi natin may pagkakaila na tayo ay in a presidential system of government, unitary form of government, na ang national government ang nagdi-dictate ng priorities and trusts. So LGUs must keep up. So in order for you to align your local priorities with the national government, you must be able to review the development, trust, and priorities of the current administration, which is stated or can be found in that Philippine Development Plan. So that is a medium-term development plan. Every administration formulates. Ano pa? What are the other input documents to the Comprehensive Development Plan? We have mentioned this already, the SGLG Governance Assessment Report, which is already a law, by the way. So hindi na tayo makakatakas dyan sa SGLG na yan, because the SGLG, hindi po yan kapritsyo lang ng DILG yung mga indicators na nakalagay sa SGLG natin. These are based on laws, legal mandates that LGUs must have, or must do. So mandato po yan base sa mga batas natin. So yun po yung kinakapture ng SGLG natin. So it is very important, and of course your MLGO is always there to help you analyze your governance assessment report. And you go back to your governance assessment report to determine the level of services that you have been giving to your LGU. Ano pa yung mga areas for improvement? Ano pa yung kulang ninyo? That is very important. And other assessment report, we have the Child-Friendly Local Governance Audit, CFLGA, the CIDRA, the CBMS. Of course, we have the thematic maps, the ecological profile, and we also have the LDIS and admin data from respective offices. So, if you want to have a comprehensive plan, kailangan ma-exhaust natin all available sources of data. Okay? Kasi hindi naman pwede na sa pag-identify ng problema, titingilan lang tayo sa kisame, yun na yung problema. Because problems must be identified, they must be evidence-based and data-driven. Okay? The keyword is evidence-based and data-driven. And you cannot achieve that kind of analysis if on the first place, hindi maganda yung database mo. Okay? So, we need to exhaust all these sources of data for us to have the best analysis, of the current situation of our LGU. Okay, so that is LDIS Rapids. Just a quick discussion of the LDIS. We shall now proceed with determining the vision reality gap. Okay. Nakakasunod po ba? Can I have a yes through our chat box sa ating po mga participants? Nakakasunod po. Okay. Okay, may problem daw sa audio. Okay? Sige ho. Okay na, Ma'am Sib?
Yes, Sir Dol.
Okay, sige. So, yung ating mga LGU participants, MPDCs, and MLGOs, I hope, mabilis ba? Or do you want me to slow down the pace? Okay. Shall now proceed with the vision reality gap. Okay? So yesterday, we have formulated our vision. So from our laboratory LGU, we have called out the success indicators of the different, based on the element descriptors na binigay sa ating bawat sector. So, ano yung vision reality gap? It measures the difference between the end state and the existing situation. So, gaya lang nabanggit ko kanina, ito yung gusto mong ma-achieve, pero nandito ka pa lang. So, how are you going to analyze kung nasaan ka ngayon? So, we do the vision reality gap analysis. How is the VRG determined? Okay? Through, of course, the VRG analysis. So, gaano kalaki yung diferensya ng vision natin? Or your vision is the ideal state. Okay? Ito yung sabihin na natin pinapangarap. Ideal situation. And if you create your ideal situation, mangangarap ka lang din naman, ay yung sky is the limit na. Okay? So pangarapin na natin yung the best, the most ideal situation that our LGU can have. For our, of course, hindi yan para sa LGU officials, but for the whole community, for our residents. So, gaano kalaki yung gap, yung difference, no? And then how near or how far you are with your vision. Okay? Gaano kalayo at gaano kalapit tayo doon sa ating vision statement. So, paano ba natin ginagawa yung VRG analysis? So, okay, una, we review the sectoral descriptors and their corresponding success indicators. Okay? Generated in connection with the formulation of the vision statement. Okay, so check if your indicators are complete. So ideally, dapat merong quantitative at saka qualitative component yung ating mga indicators. So when you say quantitative, dapat merong number component. It could be percentage or number or ratio. Ano? And then, sabi dyan, see that indicators are expressed in terms of maximum values or superlative degree. Okay, this is one of the interesting thing that was asked to me during one of our planning sessions. Bakit daw maximum values or superlative degree? Huh? Why do we need to formulate our success indicators in terms of maximum values or superlative degree? Okay? Okay, balikan natin yung purpose ng success indicator. So when the purpose of success indicator is, this is a measurement. No? This is a measurement for you to be able to measure kung gaano tayo kalapit doon sa ating goal. So when you formulate the success indicator, you are defining your vision. You are defining the ideal state of your LGU. So for example, if your descriptor is safe, for example, under the social sector na, if your descriptor for the social sector is safe in the context of public order and safety, and you're going to formulate a success indicator in terms of crime rate. Okay? Crime rate. So how would you formulate a success indicator using the indicator crime rate to its superlative degree, for example? If you're going to define your ideal situation for your LGU, what would be the situation of the crime rate in your LGU if you're going to define an ideal situation? Huh? Anyone? No crime incidents. That's correct. Because superlative degree, di ba? So, or maximum values. So, 0% crime rate. So, that could be a good example. Kasi naman, magde-define ka lang din naman ng ideal situation. Magde-define ka ba ng 1% crime rate as your success indicator? Or for example, in the case of access to potable water, would you formulate your success indicator as 95% of households with access to potable water? Is that an ideal situation to have for our LGU? So that's why we are encouraged to mangangarap na lang din naman tayo, pangarapin na natin yung maximum or superlative degree. Because your vision is a work in progress, no? So that's why i-check natin yung ating mga indicators, maximum naman, yan na ba yung gusto natin? Is that how is that the definition of what an ideal situation of our LGU would be. So maximum values or superlative degree. If you're not comfortable with that, then again, you are defining your ideal situation for your LGU. So why settle for less? No? So you'd rather formulate in your indicators using the maximum values or superlative degree. Okay, now, once you're able to formulate your success indicators, we shall now proceed with reviewing the relevant characteristic. We will now review yung mga available na data natin. So, dyan papasok na yung ating ecological profile or LDI matrix. Now, if quantified values for both the success indicators and their equivalent indicators in the accomplished LDI matrix are available, kapag available ang datos natin, you're simply going to subtract the current reality values in the LDI matrix or your ecological profile from the success indicators values. Okay? So the difference is the vision reality gap. Kaya kung maganda yung datos natin, hindi tayo mahihirapan na gawin itong VRG analysis, no? Kasi lahat ng maging analysis natin would be evidence-based and data-driven. Okay? So we're just going to subtract yung the current reality values and then yung ating LDI matrix as you have formulated in your success indicator. For example, success indicator, 0% malnutrition case. Okay? That's a very ideal situation. So, current reality niya, sabi niya, sa ngayon, ang gusto pala namin ma-achieve, dapat 0% ang malnutrition case. But right now, ang realidad, meron kaming 14% malnutrition case. So, ang gut niya, you're just going to subtract yung current reality doon sa success indicator. So, 14 minus 0, that is 14%. So, that is your gap. Meron kang 14% na dapat ma-solve or masolusyonan para ma-achieve mo yung success indicator mo na 0% malnutrition case. Okay? Another example, safe drinking water accessible to 100% of households. Okay? Ibig sabihin niyan, dapat lahat ng bahay ay merong access, no, sa potable water. So, but our current reality right now is 86% pa lang ang merong access sa potable drinking water or safe drinking water. So, if your success indicator is 100%, subtract 86%, you have 14%. That is your gap. Okay? So, ganun lang po kasimple. Subtraction lang po tayo. Okay, meron pa dito, fresh water quality indicator complying with national standards. So, current reality natin is 100%. Okay? So, when it comes to fresh water, compliant 100% sa national standard. So, ang gap mo, wala ka ng gap. Ibig sabihin, you have achieved this particular success indicator. So, dyan na ba matatapos yan? Of course not. Kasi data could either provide you a problem or a potential. No? So, if this does not pose a problem, what potential does it provide? So, that's something that you need to analyze, no? Kapag wala tayong ma-identify na gap. Okay, next. Waste disposal compliance rate is 85%. This could be under the environmental management sector. So, sa solid waste management. So, 85% ang current reality and then gap natin is 15%. You have 15% probably of your households are not yet able to comply with the waste policies of your LGU. So, that's something that you need to address. That's a problem, no? Now, paano naman kapag hindi available yung datos? As the usual case among LGUs. Okay? Paano kapag walang available na percentage, walang available na actual data, hindi maganda yung ecological profile or hindi updated? So, we're going to use the current reality rating scale. So, that's not the end of the tunnel kapag walang data. But of course, we discourage this kind of analysis. Again, step 1 is you must first build your database. So, ayaw namin, we discourage this one na magamit natin yung current reality rating scale because ang assumption namin, you should have a viable and reliable database. Okay? So, kapag wala naman, worst case scenario, pag wala tayong magamit na actual data, wala tayong available na data, then we're going to subtract the current reality rating from, we're going to use the current reality rating, which is 1 to 10, no? So the difference is the vision reality gap. Example, para mas maintindihan natin. So this is the current reality rating scale. So how are you going to do about this one? So dapat consensus kasi sectoral dapat ang workshop natin. So hindi dapat one-man team yung pag-determine ng current reality. So 0, absolutely nothing. And 1 to 4, so kung paano, ano yung score na ibibigay, dapat consensus tayo. So pag 5 is, 1 to 4 is something is already being done. Okay? Pag 5 is, the goal is half accomplished, 6 to 9 is half fulfilled, and 10 is completely attained and no further effort is needed. So, of course, again, as I have mentioned, dapat consensus yung sector, no? How are you going to define your current reality? Example. Okay, sa peaceful na descriptor, we have 0% crime rate. So, based on the consensus of the group or the sector, ang current reality rating scale natin ay 6. So and then the vision reality gap mo, you just subtract 6 from 10. So, 10 minus 6 is 4. Tama ba? And then, highly skilled, full employment. So, 4, ang current reality mo, and the vision reality gap is 6. Unempowered, citizen participation is 3. So, ang gap mo ay 7. So, that's how you use the rating scale, ano? So, kung ano yung mga ibig sabihin niyan, and then, again, we go back to the current reality rating scale dito sa table na ito. Okay? So, okay, sige. Example. Another example, ayan. So again, it's a matter of subtraction, no? This one, globally competitive. So increase in number of industrial zones. So ang current reality niya ay 5. So ang gap niya ay 5. Increase in number of BPOs. So you have 5. 5. Okay? And then increase in number of SMEs engaged in exports. So ang current reality niya ay 0. So medyo malaki-laki pa. Wala, ibig sabihin ng 0, wala pang nagagawa in order to achieve that particular indicator. And then, increase in highly skilled workforce. So you have 3 as the current reality and 7 as your vision reality gap. So again, yung current, that very crucial yung current reality rating scale. Okay? So it must be based on ecological profile, focus group discussion, and community validation. So dapat as much as possible maximum participation para makapag-arrive tayo in a consensus kung nasa na tayo in our in determining the current reality. Okay? So, further examples. Okay, so for example, green city, increased agricultural productivity and sustained food supply. Reality rating scale niya ay 8. And then, vision reality gap ay 2. So, intensified integration of agriculture in urban communities. Current reality is 4. So, 10 minus 4 is 6. Infra, introduction of sustainable mass transport system. So, 0 ang current reality, and then vision reality gap is 10. Okay, other examples? Okay, so as simple as that lang po, ano? Kapag hindi available yung ating data. So, make use of first-hand or stock knowledge of the LGU. Okay? Review your relevant characterization of each sector in the ecological profile and other important sources such as the SIDRA. So, kaya mahalaga yung citizen participation, participation sa ating planning workshops kasi hindi naman natin alam lahat ng situation sa ating LGU. So, we need to expose dun sa ating membership ng sectoral committees, no? Meron tayong expanded, no? Full-blown committees. So, as much as possible, ma-expose natin yung maximum number of participants for each sector. So again, use maps. You have the SIDRA, of course, integrating the risk-informed CDP, no? Okay, so we have, so the VRG reflects the current reality of the locality, which can be based from the technical findings of the SIDRA and the LDIS. So, vision, and then reality. And then, ano yung existing na difference ng dalawa? Does it provide a problem or a potential? And illustrates the advantages of using SIDRA indicators as success indicators for the descriptor or vision, which allows the LGU to easily measure the existing situation of their locality. So, once you are able to formulate your SIDRA, madali na lang yung VRG analysis. Kasi, actually, part ng SIDRA, dun sa mga LGUs na meron ng SIDRA, is merong VRG analysis doon. So, madali na lang i-call out yun doon and then yun yung gagamitin natin sa ating comprehensive development plan. So, the identified gap from the VRG analysis can also be used as a reference in identifying sectoral goals and objectives. Again, we go back to our data. When we formulate goals and objectives, we refer back to our the result of our VRG analysis. So, gaano ba tayo kalayo o kalapit doon sa ating gustong ma-achieve? Okay, so further examples. Okay, so descriptor niya ay safe. So only 1% of the population are exposed to high risk. Yan yung kanyang success indicator. And the 90% of the informal settled areas are at high risk to flooding with houses made from light materials. Kasi sa SIDRA, ito yung ginagamit nila, yung simply adapt or call that information from your SIDRA and then you're good to go, no? Yung ating VRG analysis. Okay, further examples. Ayan, so this presentation will be provided to you. So baka meron tayong pwedeng mga ma-adapt na success indicators, no? Na pwede natin magamit, no, during our workshop with our LGU. So now, this is the problem solution finding matrix, no? So, Sid, shall I proceed with the EPSFM na?
Sige, Sir Dolph. Diretso na lang natin.
Sige, sige. So, this is the solution finding matrix. So, na, hanggang saan lang yung column natin? Sa vision reality gap, right? So, okay. So, so hanggang vision reality gap lang tayo kanina, and then sa problem solution finding matrix, so we will now further analyze yung binibigay na sa atin ng data na yon. No? If you have the gap, then what does that data provide you? What does that data tell you? Ano? So this is an example, a risk-sensitive vision reality gap analysis. So for example, 100% of private establishment with teams trained on administration of first aid and disaster response management. So reality gap niya ay 7 because ang current reality niya ay 3. Okay? So we'll first proceed with the discussion on the PSFM. This is just an example of a PSFM. Okay, so this is the expanded problem solution finding matrix. So balikan natin. Tapos na tayo sa pag-determine ng current reality. Again, very important yung data. Ano? So we were now able to establish how far and how near we are with our success indicator for the attainment of our vision statement. So that was the purpose of determining the current reality. You have the vision as an ideal scenario for your LGU, but you have the VRG analysis to give the actual situation, no? To provide you with the actual scenario of your LGU. Now, nalaman na natin ano yung kasalukuyang sitwasyon ng ating LGU. So, what about it? No? So, hindi doon nagtatapos yung ating pagpaplano. We are still on the first step of the scientific method. That is to identify the problem. Okay, so in formulating the problem solution finding matrix, we need to dig deeper, analyze deeper. Ano yung mga binibigay sa atin, ano yung sinasuggest sa atin itong mga datos na ito. For example, yung binigyan natin na example kanina, population growth rate and literacy rate. So, andyan na yung mga data na yan. So, what do these figures mean actually? So, hanggang dyan lang ba yan na present natin? Okay, ang 2,000, 3.2%, 2.0%. Of course, as planners, we do not settle for merely data. We proceed in analyzing what do this data mean. So, in analyzing, we proceed to comparing this data or indicators across two spatial or geographical units. That's why it's very important na makapture din natin yung ating spatial na indicator. So from the smaller planning unit to the largest planning unit, dapat makita natin. So is A is greater than B, tama ba? Yung population growth rate and literacy rate, sa barangay A daw, ay mas mataas ang kanyang population growth rate compared to B. Or A could be less than B. Or A is equal to B. These are the things that we can use in analyzing. No? So, kagaya na binigay natin example kanina. So, sa planning area, mas mataas ang growth rate ng munisipyo natin compared to the growth rate of the whole province. So 3.2% to 0.8%. So these are the basic analysis that we can derive from being presented with this particular data. Okay, now, so it can also provide, you can also compare indicators in 2 points or periods of time. Diyan papasok yung temporal na indicators natin. So mahalagang makapture natin. For example, meron bang increase? Meron bang decrease? Or walang pagbabago? So these are the kind of analysis that we can easily have if all these data are available. So compare the data for study area with known standards or benchmarks if no time series or spatial distribution of data is available. So meron tayong mga benchmarks, no? Ano ba yung mga benchmarks natin? For example, sa mga assessment na kinakandak ng DILG, merong mga minimum benchmarks. Sa child-friendly local governance audit, for example, dapat merong, ano ba yan? Yung mga, sa malnutrition rate, ano pa ba yun? Sa child mortality rate, at saka, ano pa ba yung sa mga child-friendly local governance audit na indicators natin. So meron tayong mga national standards which you can use or even surpass, no? In formulating your success indicators, pwede nyo masurpass itong mga minimum standards na ito. So for example, sa SGLG, yung utilization rates natin. So these are some standards that you can use as benchmarks. Makita ninyo, kayo ba ay nalagpasan nyo ba yung benchmark na yan? Or you're way below it? Okay? Or even lang, pareho lang yung data ninyo with the standard set in a national or in an international level. For example, we're integrating climate and disaster risk assessment. So meron tayong mga standards din dyan na dapat sinusunod natin. Yung exposure natin, no? So these are the things that we can dig deeper, no? Dive into para mas mapalalim pa natin yung understanding ng ating problema. Now, extracting intelligence entails probing into the causes or explanations behind the observed conditions. Okay? It asks the question why. Bakit? Bakit tayo may problema? what causes this problem? What brought us into this scenario na hindi lahat ay merong access sa potable drinking water or safe drinking water? Bakit hindi lahat ay merong access to electricity? Bakit mataas ang crime rate, ang violence against women and children cases? So, we should not settle in merely identifying the problem, but you must analyze the root causes of this problem for us to pinpoint the appropriate solutions for this problem. Kasi minsan, kapag nag-settle tayo, ay ito yung problema natin, but we did not identify the root cause or root causes of this problem, later on, mismatch yung interventions. Mali yung program of proyekto na binigay natin. No? So, it provides the clue to finding more fundamental solutions, as I have mentioned, providing appropriate solution, corresponding solutions, no? By attacking the causes rather than symptoms of the problem. Diba? Parang terrorism lang yan. So, what is the root cause? The symptom is there are people who are raising arms against the government. That could be the symptom of terrorism. It could be the symptom of why there are rebels within our LGU dun sa may mga LCAC areas. Pero ano ba yung root cause ng problema na yun? Okay? Do you get my point? Yan yung importance nung identifying or digging deeper into the problem. Kasi for example, in solving terrorism or in solving insurgency, I would use the term insurgency because this is a program, the LCAC program of the government. How do you solve? Okay, based on the framework of the LCAC or the Enhanced Local Comprehensive Enhanced Local Communist Armed Conflict, tama? LCAC, basta yun, LCAC. So, hindi lang naman natin pinapasuko yung mga FRs natin o yung mga rebels natin. We look at the fundamental problems of our society. No, because insurgency is a multifaceted problem. So, sa mga areas natin na LCAC areas, for example, may mga target LGUs tayo na merong insurgency. So, this will fall under public safety concern, no? So, what are the root causes of insurgency? So, they should be, sa mga LCAC areas natin we have target LGUs that are identified as LCAC areas. So, this must be reflected in your analysis. The root causes of insurgency in your LGU, and not simply insurgency itself. Okay? So, look at the fundamental factors, the multifaceted factors that cause insurgency. That's very important for us to identify the appropriate solutions. No? Whole of nation. Pero sa CDP, whole of sector approach dapat tayo. No? Sige. Now, state observation either based on, of course, based on your data, or this could be based on your map overlay analysis. When it comes to climate and disaster risk assessment, you can use the map overlay analysis. And then, as I have mentioned, you need to identify the cause or causes of the observed condition. If uncertain, formulate hypotheses or educated guesses to be validated later. But of course, dapat alam natin, as planners, as members of the planning team, alam natin kung ano yung root causes ng problema. And if we cannot, then we have the civil society organizations, our communities to help us thresh out the different causes of, the root causes of the different problems that we may be able to identify. So what? Okay? If no significant intervention is made, okay? For example, when you do not address the problem on malnutrition or unemployment, so what? Okay? So what kung meron tayong malaking kaso ng unemployment or malnutrition? Okay? So analysis must be extended further into determining appropriate policy interventions. So now, if negative implications predominate, then the observed condition can be regarded as a problem. Ito yung sinasabi natin, data can either provide a problem or an opportunity. Okay, remember that. It can provide a problem or an opportunity. So if negative implications, then that could be regarded as a problem, something that you must solve, something that you must address. So how can you address that? You formulate policies that either mitigate the inconvenience or solve the problem permanently. Of course, the ideal situation is we're able to solve the problem permanently, except for the things that are beyond our capacity as human beings. Of course, you cannot solve earthquakes, you cannot solve other natural disasters. But what can we do to address this phenomenon? We can mitigate the impact of these natural disasters. But for the things that we have control over, perhaps the better way to solve them is to identify a permanent solution for this problem. Okay. And the next, ito, if positive implications naman predominate. For example, I remember dun sa example natin kanina, ano bang indicator yon? Yung wala na silang na-identify na gap. So then the observed condition may be regarded as a potential. So dun sa compliance, for example, in national standards in water safety. No? So if you are able to validate that indeed you are complying with the national standards 100% on standards on water safety, then that is a potential. Okay? Potential to maintain or to share with, no? Or to improve at when it comes to that particular indicator. So wala na kasi kayong na-identify na gap. For example, when it comes to solid waste management. Kung wala kayong, sino ba ditong walang problema sa basura? Sige nga, sino LGU ang walang problema sa basura? So lahat naman siguro may problema sa basura. So, but we can also provide we can also gather potentials, no? Dun sa mga problems natin. So for example, if you have high incidence of improper solid waste management, what could be the potential that we can derive from this problem, no? So that could be a source of income for the LGU, no? For sustainable community solid waste management. These are the things that you can analyze or delve into, no? Makapag-create tayo ng potentials out of our problems. For example, for this pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic. So it's a problem, obviously, pero meron mang potentials na binibigay ito sa mga LGUs. Huh? What do you think? Does it provide an opportunity? Of course, given na problema yung COVID-19, but at the other side of the coin, we can identify opportunities, no, na pwede nating magawa for the benefit of our local government unit. So, just going back to the process in formulating the comprehensive development plan. So now that we have determined the vision reality gap and then analyzed the root causes of these gaps or of these problems, okay, then we must now proceed to formulating appropriate policy options. Ano? Once we are able to identify and unmask the root causes of these problems, ano? Kailangan, what will you do to address those gaps or to bridge the gap? Meron kayong difference, so anong gagawin mo para ma-close yung difference or yung gap na na-identify natin during the VRG analysis? So, you will now provide policy options. So, determine appropriate policy interventions, which need not be limited to targeting the negative implications of observed conditions, but also the positive implications that need to be maintained and strengthened through policies that seek to sustain the beneficial effects. So, hindi lang natin i-address yung ating mga problema, kundi pati yung mga positive implications that need reinforcement or that need to be maintained or improved or even strengthened for the benefits of our constituents. Okay, so this is the problem solution finding matrix. Okay, so you have the observed conditions, explanations, that's why we ask the question why. Bakit meron tayong problema ganito? Ano yung mag-implication nito pag ito ay hindi na solusyonan? At anong gagawin natin para ito ay masolusyonan? So this is an example. So ang observed condition, this is your vision reality gap analysis, no? So increasing incidence of waterborne diseases. So ang explanation niya is lack of potable water source. Tama nga naman, di ba? Maaring particular sa mga island municipalities natin. Maaring dahil mataas yung incidence ng waterborne diseases dahil walang water source, okay? Difficult access to government-assisted water systems, and lack of awareness of causes of the diseases. So, yan yung mga rason based on the analysis of that LG kung bakit mataas yung waterborne diseases sa kanila. So what? So what kung mataas yung waterborne diseases? So what kung maraming namamatay or nagkakasakit dahil sa mga waterborne diseases na yan? So, dyan na natin sasagutin yung implications when unresolved. So, increased mortality rate and high expense on health or medical support services. So, how will you close that gap? Okay, so ang policy options niya na binigay is make clean and safe drinking water within reach of every household. Okay, so paano i-implement yung policy option na yan? Mababreakdown pa natin yan into specific interventions later on. No? But for now, we will settle with this general statement on policy options. So, example pa. Okay, land classification, area of A and D is very small. A and D is agricultural and development area ba? A and D?
Ancestral domain.
Ancestral domain is very small. Sa mga MPDC natin, what is A and D? Ancestral domain ba or I forgot the
alienable and disposable. Alienable and disposable.
Tama.
Alienable and disposable. So, thank you. Sino sumugot? Si Miriam Arsaga from LGU El Nido. Parang El Nido lang ang naano ko. Nasaan yung ibang LGUs? Okay. So, alienable and disposable. So, it's very small. So, when you say alienable and disposable, ito lang yung pwede nating magamit for development. Okay? And the other would be protected probably. And then, so, explanation niya is over 84% of total land area is forest land. So, pag forest land, hindi siya alienable, no? With some areas probably misclassified. So, not all A and D lands are subjected to cadastral survey. Only the urban areas has been subjected to that survey. So, kapag maliit ang alienable and disposable mo, maliit din ang pwede mong magamit for potential development. So, merong implication yan, no, sa social services, no, and then the economic development of your LGU. So, a small area devoted to agriculture, especially, of course, if your LGU is agricultural and other crops. Revenue generation, meron din implication yan. Occupants of untitled lands are considered squatters and have no security of tenure, and investors hesitate to develop untitled lands. So, again, it all merong domino effect, no, yung maliit na A&D land sa overall development ng ating LGU. So, policy options, of course, reclassification. And of course, you're empowered naman, no? LGUs are empowered. This is one of the devolved powers of LGUs to reclassify lands, no? And accelerate cadastral survey and titling of lands. Okay? So, those are the policy options that we can provide in order to address these particular observed conditions. Okay. Another example, this is under transportation subsector ng infrastructure sector. Okay? Water as means of transportation and mobility. So siguro ito ay sa mga flooded LGUs or yung mataas na yung water level ng mga LGUs. So absence of roads and bridges connecting to far-flung barangays. So implications, of course, danger, slow and poor mobility, and cannot be relied upon during emergencies. So ang policy options niya, massive road and bridge building. So these are actionable interventions, no? Action words, dapat ang policy options. Anong gagawin mo para ma-resolve yung observed conditions mo? So maintain a municipal government-operated ferry service that is multi-purpose and construct a pier for safe and reliable docking. So I hope you are able to understand na yung concept ng problem solution finding matrix. Okay? Nakakasunod po ba? Okay, kindly type yes. Kung mga LGU participants. Nakakasunod po ba? Okay, yes, si Ma'am Miriam. The other LGUs po. Okay? Okay, Calatrava, si Sir Fahel. Okay, si Ma'am Rox. And then, okay, Santa Cruz. So, we will continue, okay? Okay, Palawan, Mansalay, thank you so much. At nakakasunod naman po tayo. So, again, during the actual planning process, this is very crucial, no? Kasi actual planning workshop rather, this is very crucial kasi dito lahat nagkakaroon ng dito lahat mag-i-emanate, no, yung ating mga policies and programs and projects na which is the meat of the CDP. Yung ating mga programs and projects. So, you must be very careful, no? In determining the policy options that are responsive, no, to the root causes or explanations of your observed conditions. Wait na si Ma'am Sydney. Anyway, okay, so this is simply a framework, no? How important the availability of data is in identifying the problems, so identifying the observed conditions of our LGU. So, from our local development indicator, LDIs or RAPIDs, map overlays, CBMS, the LGPMS, which is now the SGLG, Governance Assessment Report, and in the VRG analysis, all of this can be used, no, to identify the current reality, as well as the observed conditions of our LGU. So, in formulating the policy, the problem solution finding matrix, what are the implications? Kailangan, ano yung implication nito kapag hindi natin na-resolve? And also, what are the root causes of this problem? So these are things that need to be resolved or addressed, no, before we can provide the policy options, and then we proceed to the goal statements later on. Okay? So, okay, so maps, siguro sa mga planners natin, especially when it comes to mainstreaming yung ating DRRCCA, napaka-importante yung maps, no? Makita mo lang, nasaan yung mga barangays na under high risk or flood prone or landslide prone areas. Malalaman mo na kaagad kung gaano kalaki or yung scale ng problema ng hazards, no, sa inyong LGU, no? For example, in climate change naman, no, the risk of sea level rise, no? So makikita mo anong mga coastal barangays ang nasa kailangan nating i-relocate because of the risk of sea level rise. So these are the purpose of maps, no? Simple lang sila, although they are just visual representation of the overall problem, we can easily deduce, no? Deduce yung gaano kalaki yung problema at sino-sino yung mga naapektuhan ng problema iyon. Okay? So, Okay. If you want to focus, if you want to use thematic maps as in generating new information, you can use this table, no, in gathering your analysis. So just the same, no. So what map are you going to use? Okay. Description of the conflict area, siguro yung mga affected area. Explanations for conflict and implications when unresolved. Just the same with the problem solution finding matrix. So now, this is the expanded problem solution finding matrix. So kanina, simple lang, no, yung ating problem solution finding matrix. So, observed conditions, the causes, implications when unresolved, and policy options. That's the basic problem solution finding matrix. Pero ngayon, okay, that's the basic problem solution finding matrix. We're going to expand, no, yung ating PSFM to include the positive and negative implications ng ating mga identified na problems, ano? So, yung format nasa workshop natin mamaya, we're going to flesh out the positive and negative implications, as well as we are going to categorize yung mga policy options, but we're not going to do this because there's a separate workshop for identifying intervention. So, we will simply identify the positive and negative implications and then provide the policy options needed, no, to address the identified gaps. So yun lang naman po ang pinagkaiba, no, ng expanded problem solution finding matrix, negative and positive implications. Okay? So sa policy options, general statement. Okay? Kasi mamaya, okay, sige. So sa policy options, hindi natin susundin itong may breakdown. Ano? General statement lang tayo. Kasi yung breakdown niyan, yung programs, projects, legislative agenda, and CapDiv will be captured dun sa succeeding workshop, which is identifying solutions. No? So hanggang policy options lang tayo, which must be a general statement. Okay, these are examples of policy options linked to their RCCA, resettlement or relocation, hazard mitigation infrastructure, IEC, okay, formulation of applicable plans, reforestation projects, no, and comprehensive extension programs. So you can frame this, you can frame your policy options into general statements, okay? Actionable items, halimbawa, implement relocation programs or resettlement programs, no? So construct hazard mitigation infrastructures. So hindi pa ito yung mismong programs and projects kasi mamaya pa natin yun i-identify. Now, para dun sa mga LGUs na meron ng SIDRA, ayan. So, yan na mismo yung laman ng SIDRA natin, no? Merong observed condition and then merong explanation for the gap. Okay? So, ang gagawin natin, ika-call out lang natin yung laman ng SIDRA. Okay? So, madali na lang, no? Kapag meron tayong SIDRA. But unfortunately, some of our LGUs do not have the SIDRA, kaya we will do with what we have, the LCCAP or the LDRM plan. Okay? So, example pa, ito pong table na ito yung mismong laman ng, this is how the SIDRA looks like. So, meron kang decision area, description, meron kang technical findings, meron kang implications, and then meron ka ring policy interventions. So, madali na lang, ika-call out na lang po yan kapag meron kayong SIDRA. So, for those who have SIDRA, review your SIDRA and then use that during your planning workshops. Para madali na lang sa inyo na i-integrate yung risk lens doon sa ating CDP. So, kukupihan lang natin yung laman ng SIDRA and then use that in our problem solution finding matrix. Okay? Ayan na po. So, kinala-out lang natin. Okay? yung observed conditions, and then we have explanations, okay, and then we have implications when not responded. So lahat yan ay just taken out directly from the SIDRA in Tuto and okay, yan. Ito pa. So this is another illustration of how we can accomplish the expanded problem solution finding matrix. So we have different inputs, no, in crafting the EPSFM, no. So we have the SIDRA, we have the VRG analysis, and we have the LDIS. So lahat yan ay pwede natin gamitin para sa pag-formulate ng ating problem solution finding matrix. So sa SIDRA, again, copy-paste lang po yan. Kung ano yung nandun sa ating SIDRA, yun din yung ating ilalagay. For the VRG, we've discussed the VRG analysis. So kung makikita nyo lang dito, mapapansin nyo lang, medyo textual lang siya or in descriptive form yung ating observed condition. So you can also opt to make that into a statement, no, yung ating VRG analysis. Kasi yung mga examples natin kanina, we have the what they call this, the current, the success indicator, the current reality, and then the gap. So you can translate that into a sentence or a descriptive statement of the observed condition, no? So yun yung translation, yung VRG analysis natin. So that is your observed condition using the result of your VRG analysis. So sa LDIS naman, so since the content of the LDIS are simply data, no, numbers, ratio, percentage, so makikita natin dyan what could be the observed condition. Halimbawa, increased rate of malnutrition and decreasing report and occurrence of criminality. So ayan, explanations and implications when not responded. Okay? So these three could be sources of our or inputs in formulating our problem solution finding matrix. So balik tayo sa example. So ito yung ating VRG analysis kanina. So they are merely numbers, pero dito sa current reality at sa vision reality gap, pwede nyong i-craft into a statement. Bakit merong serve as your observed condition. Yung gap, no? Yung 4, that is already your observed condition. Halimbawa, there is an observed decrease, kagaya na there is an observed decrease in the criminality in the LGU. So that is a statement, no? Descriptive statement of the vision reality gap, which you can use as your observed condition. So, okay, so this is the format. I understand this is the format of the expanded problem solution finding matrix. So we have observed conditions, we have the explanations, the causes, and the positive and then we have the positive and the negative implications of the problems identified. Okay? And then we'll now formulate the policy options. Answers the question. Okay, so workshop na tayo. Natin bago tayo mag-workshop. Natin yung saying or wise words from a wise man, who is Albert Einstein. If I had an hour to solve a problem, I would spend 55 minutes thinking about the problem and 5 minutes thinking about the solution. So dapat mas mabigat yung importansyang ibibigay natin in identifying the problem for us to be able to identify appropriate solutions later on. Okay? Sige, so Sid, sino mag-discuss ng mechanics?
Sige po, Sir Dolph. Maraming salamat, Sir Dolph, for your very comprehensive discussion ng ating ecological profile, VRG, hanggang sa ating expanded problem solution finding matrix. So at this point in time po, we will proceed sa ating workshop process. So let me discuss po yung proseso ng ating workshops. Combined na po ito. Workshop number 2 and number 3.